Before we get into this episode, I would like to make a quick disclaimer that all of Society Inspired's interviews and the information we share are 100% for learning experience and to hear the different sides of the various issues we discuss. We never endorse nor support violence, and we are committed to promoting peace. I want to create a safe space for learning and comfortable place for people to be able to start to speak. Hope you enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 14th episode of Society Inspired. My name is Gemma. I am a 15-year-old Palestinian American teen, and I am so excited to have Nitashia Johnson as our special guest for episode number 14. Would you like to introduce yourself, tell us your story, and also share your preferred pronouns, please?
Yes. So my pronouns is she, her, hers. And first of all, for anyone watching this, I think you're super cool. Thank you for doing it, and thank you just for being awesome, the awesome people that you all are. My name is Nitashia, and thank you so much for introducing me. I'm actually a multimedia artist, and that consists of my photography, video, design, and drawing skills. And most importantly, what I love doing is using my creative practice to shine light on issues in the world because we need the light, we need the support, we need the love. Because when you look at things happening around you, the world can be a scary place, but through creativity, we can really change the course of history. And I feel that with creativity, being on the positive side of history, being a joy in that piece can really elevate the people that come behind you or even people who came before you. It's all about love, and I wouldn't change it for the world. And just a bit more information about myself. When I was growing up, it was just it was difficult, because I didn't have that solid foundation. I didn't have my parents in my life, but you know, I feel like the universe works in crazy ways because there were people who came into my life that really supported me throughout my youth. That's why I feel like I'm so big on supporting the youth as far as their dreams and passions because they can make a difference. And you share love and you make them understand that they're important because they are, let them understand that they're important. Um, you don't know what they can do. And although my mom wasn't in my life, she did plant a creative seed. Great woman, but life can be very difficult for a lot of people. So she was absent for a bit part of it. And I met teachers like Mrs. Grisby in junior high school who exposed me to the arts. And since that moment, I've been hitting the ground running, meeting more people who fed into my creativity. And then when I was old enough, I was like, I'm going to keep using my creative practice to make people smile because we need more of those. So that is just a bit of information about who I am. And I hope that you are taking care of your mental health too, because that's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great shout out. Love that. I found your work during this past school year. I wrote a paper about your photography in my photography class and the difference you strive for it to make in the world. Um, did you get into photography in high school? How did you get into photography officially?
Well, I'm so happy that I'm telling you this story because it's so organic and you're like, how did you? But I wanted to take photography in high school. When I like before I got to high school, I was working with Miss Grisby because before that I was shifting around from different households, right?
Yeah.
And I finally ended up at Pearl C. Anderson, which is a school in South Dallas, and she saw my creative talents because I would hide out in the restrooms and stuff like that. I was as a kid who was just bouncing around, in junior high school it can be harsh, so I wasn't going to lunch. But I would go to her classroom and she saw the work that I was doing. Now, she told me about graphic design, and from half of my seventh grade year to eighth grade year, she was helping me build a portfolio, like really working with me one on one to build a portfolio. And she told me about an art school in downtown Dallas, which was Booker T. Washington.
Mm.
And I was like, what, an art school? This is great. Like, what? This is amazing. But long story short, I got in after making multiple calls because, once again, I have my parents around. So I was staying with an older sibling. And actually, when I went to audition, I took the portfolio Miss Grisby had me, help me build. And I went downtown, caught the city bus by myself. Now, granted, I told them my parents were outside as I signed the documents myself, but they were not. And I went through that.
Wow.
audition process. It was it was so
That's that's amazing though.
yeah, man. It was like they're outside, but I was embarrassed. I didn't know what else to say. But when I got in, it was like, wow, I was so happy. I remember crying. It's the first time as a
Yeah,
kid,
of
crying
course.
about an opportunity. I was like, oh my gosh, I got in. I was so excited because I had to call them. I didn't get it in the mail. But when I was at Booker T, it smelled and felt like creativity. You know what I mean? It was they have a new building now, added on to the original historical building, but before it was just a feeling that it gave me. And as far as the photography component, I remember signing up for classes like printmaking and other things like that. But I also signed up for photography. The thing about that though is when I was in that class sitting there, I remember the teacher handing out the list of supplies, and it was a film photography class. I couldn't afford it. That was ninth grade year, and as painful as that was, I had to drop out of it. I really wanted to take that. It was something about capturing a moment for me. Now, although I wasn't able to take photography during that 4 years because of the hardships, I was still living in poverty. Um, I would go by the class sometimes to just peek in to see what the students were doing. And I was like, wow, this is great. So photography, I would say that journey for me started there. My creative journey started before with inspiration from my mom and then the teachers like Miss Grisby.
Mm.
But photography was like just sitting in my spirit for a long time until I was able to go to college. When I was able to go to college, which was another hardship in itself, I met some great professors like Susan K. Grant. It was a great financial aid advisor, Governor Jackson, who believed in me because I actually got denied from that university, Texas Women's University. I got denied, but with the help of a counselor and some in-law family members and a letter from myself, they eventually let me in on probation. But I graduated with honors. Right. I was really, really dedicated, and during my time in at Texas Women's University, I used that camera to document everything because everything to me was beautiful, and it's a way to bring out once again that light and what we see. So that's how I got started in photography, and I have not stopped because it's cool. Like who doesn't, taking photos is cool.
Yeah. And having it be your job is even cooler, I
It's
think.
really, really fun, man. I tell you.
There's so much to it that just there's so many possibilities with it.
Hmm. It's
Um,
you can meet so many people,
true.
what, like I'm meeting you now. It's cool.
Yes.
Yay.
I'm having like a bit of a fangirl moment, I'm not gonna lie, because
Oh,
like I don't think like if like as a basis, like I had to research like so many photographers this past year, and I don't know, I just like kept coming back to your portfolio and all your images, and I would just like be like, I want them, I want my pictures to look like this. Like they're just so like simple but like pure and beautiful, and it was like one of the biggest inspirations for me this past like school year semester.
oh my God.
And so I'm just like I'm having a bit of and like I'm an activist, and so seeing what you did with your photography also in the class, I was like, and I want to do this with it. So I was just like,
Oh,
I'm having a bit of like a oh my goodness moment.
oh my God. Wait, first of all, like, thank you because you're super cool. Like, so you're having like a moment, but I'm having a moment because, first of all, like, you're dedicated. Look what you're doing, Like, you are going to move mountains. Your work is going to just bring out the light in you because you have that. I'm talking like it's cool. First of all, you saying like, oh, it's cool, like talking to you. It's cool for me having the opportunity to talk to you. I think you're amazing. Like, this is so inspiring. You don't
Thank you.
like, I was telling the girls on the team at the Smart Project, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. She's cool. So I appreciate it. Really, that means so much to me. And oh my gosh, you're gonna make me cry though.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold the tears in though. Like, but
You're like,
nah, man, you
thank
are super dope. Don't, oh my
you.
gosh. Yeah.
Thank you. You have done so many projects within photography, but was your self-publication what led you to start using your photography as a form of activism, or what led you to start using them for that?
Okay. So I went off to grad school in 2014. And that was a crazy move, but it was necessary. And when I was away, I was able to work with like youth artists, which I was like, oh, like the coolest creative projects like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I was able to understand their stories and understand that many of them had similar hardships. But when I was also way up there, not only was I learning how to be an educator, I was also seeing the amount of colorism and conflict that was happening within my very own community.
Yeah.
When you see something that's like hurting people and you have a certain amount of empathy and sympathy, you kind of want it to stop immediately. So
Of course.
with that being said, I was like, how could I do something to at least like highlight the beauty in my community? How can I do something like that? Because I have so many friends who have childhood trauma because of the things they experienced. I have it, and we can be that change. I was
Mm.
seeing harsh memes online that were attacking, darker skinned women, darker skinned men, in relation to colorism. I was seeing just so many arguments and jokes being made online within the community that could be very, toxic to anyone's natural growth or confidence. And I remember just talking to a colleague of mine, a peer that was in class, and she was saying like, "Hey, I've seen you do work, amongst the grad students. I would photograph my peers and then, design a booklet alongside their work, right? And they talk about their creative practice, but it was actually Michelle, and she was like, you could do something similar, or you should think about doing something." And a year after I graduated, I was like, you know what, self love is important, so I'm going to start with the self publication. And when I first started, I did not know what I was doing. I just knew I wanted to show the beauty in people.
Of course.
And 5 years later, I've worked with over 42 people. I have 3 books, the volumes, and I just was like, you know what? I don't have much, not that many resources, but I'm gonna combine my design and photography skills together to make this happen. And I don't regret it. It's just amazing. I do not regret that project at all.
Yeah. Um, I haven't gotten to like fully like read, not read, you know what I mean? Like look
Mhm.
through it. But I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it's
Yeah,
so beautiful.
yeah. I can. I'll send you one. I'll send you one because I know I have like some back there. It's like behind that purple thingy that
Thank
rolls.
you. Yes. I was like, I need to order, I need to see. Um, so, so much information.
And I
This
talk a lot too, so let me know if I need to slow down.
no, it's perfect. I love people who talk a lot because I talk a lot. And talking is cool
It
because it just
is.
gives you more information. And that's what I want here. I just want nice, organic, flowing conversation. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
The SMART Project is a nonprofit after school program you have started for teens in
Mhm.
northern Texas, I believe.
Mhm.
What was the inspiration for making an artistic program for teens?
So it brings me back to Miss Grisby because Miss Grisby helped me plant that. Well, not plant. She didn't help me plant, but she helped water the seed my mom planted in me. And she was amazing. Just bits and pieces. So the Smart Project is truly inspired by my life and
Mm,
my need to help people, but most importantly, how other people came in and helped me. I I would even say that I had the feeling when I was in high school because I ended up going to the art school. I got into the art school, but many of my peers surrounding in like other schools in the neighborhood didn't
yeah.
really have the creative resources. So it was like, man, it would be cool when I'm older to provide something like that. Just little me thinking like that. So going to grad school at RISD and being able to work with so many different creative youth artists, it was amazing. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to come back home and do something similar. And which reminds me, I was able to work as a mentor in Project Open Door. And Project Open Door is a great program paired with RISD, created by Dr. Sproul. And just the work that that program does in the community in Providence, Rhode Island is truly amazing. And the SMART project was really just a foundation of creativity, love, and the support that I received in order to help youth artists. The idea came about in 2015, but we jump started the whole entire thing, the pilot program in 2019. Pandemic happened.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. But we went back to the drawing board, and I worked with a great team of women. We just ran a workshop earlier, this year, and we are set to start the next one September 17th. So
Awesome.
yeah, pretty cool kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um, you have an exhibit. What
Hmm.
was the aim of your exhibit showcasing South Dallas neighborhoods?
Yeah. And I'll make sure that nothing came through. Please forgive me.
Very
But I
good.
want to. Okay, so um, South Dallas, South Dallas is it's crazy how life is. I mean, I was talking about the universe, but South Dallas is where Pearl C is, and that's where Miss Grisby was helping me. I didn't even know I was moving around so much. But the beauty of South Dallas came about through the Juanita J. Craft House Artist Residency that's offered by the South Dallas Cultural Center. And that's also where we host workshops for the SMART Project. But it's a great team of people there. You have John, Carla, Imani, just great people who are working to make a difference in the area. And when I was a part of that residency, it was more so like a pilot. And
Mm.
I was approached about documenting the area. And I was like, oh, yeah, I would love to. I mean, I have some ties here. I grew up right down the street, and I moved around a lot, but that was one of the areas that changed my life.
Yeah.
And as I worked on it, it started to elevate and grow, though. And I feel like with creative projects, you have an idea, but then it starts to transform in a way. And I felt that it wasn't only necessary to document the space, right? Because it's changing, of course, the area is
Yeah.
changing, but the people as well, because the people are what make the area what it is, their energy and their spirit. Um, and it's like bittersweet, but I felt that it needed to be done. And with the support of the cultural center, the folks at the cultural center, I was able to make it happen. And I'm happy I did. So.
Yes. Like you mentioned that you had this exhibit at the Juanita Craft Civil Rights House. Is there a more specific reason why you chose to have it there? Is there any
Okay.
history?
Yeah. And I'll back it up a little bit because I think I'm like, oh, blah. I'm like blah blah. But so the Juanita J. Craft House is actually down the street, not too far from the cultural center. And the exhibit took place within the cultural center, which is beautiful. Like, oh my God, you should see the gallery space. It's so amazing. But the actual home is going to be changed into a museum.
Mm.
And when I walked in there, it was just really great because, this is where she lived and she did so much work for the community. So to be a part of a residency that's inspired by her, it's just like, wow, you're a part of history because she did so many things for the city of Dallas, especially in that area of South Dallas, that poured out. And that's the reason why I'm able to create this now. But I had the exhibit at the South Dallas Cultural Center, and the South Dallas Cultural Center is just known for supporting like artists. I know they were the first to even offer to support the self-publication, which is where I had my first show for that.
Wow. Okay. That's amazing.
Mhm.
Makes complete sense. Um, what steps do you feel like we must take to dismantle racist and socioeconomic stereotypes in our world, society?
I feel, and I can go super deep, but man, but I
You
feel like
can.
it's
Feel
important
free.
for, yeah, man, like first of all, I feel like it's important for everyone to everyone to be respected by not forcing them away from their history. History plays a huge part in aligning the details and understanding who we truly are, our identities, and why certain things are happening and continue to suppress so many people. I feel that the only way to dismantle, any racism or stereotypes that really plague people, is to let people be themselves and understand and learn who they are, and to stop this idea of fighting against them and stopping them from being who they are. I
Yeah.
think equal resources, exposure, access to things that will better their living situations will be great as well. Because I feel like everything ties into this thing of like, exploitation, poverty hurts people. All of this needs to be brought to the forefront because people need help. People need to understand themselves, love who they are, understand their culture, and should be proud of who they are and their culture.
Yeah.
No one should be oppressed or demonized for being born the way they are. It's just wrong. And I always say this: if we can't continue with a system that is meant to hurt an individual because of who they are, corruption or anything like that, it
Exactly.
if we can't do that, we can't save the actual ground that we walk on,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't solve problems with ill will or hate. It just won't work. We've seen it over and over again, generation after generation. It's just not working. It needs to be a change. It has to be, let people be free. Let people go. Let them be free. That's what I feel could truly save it, alongside the history and being subsumed in it and overcoming any hardships that were set to, any rocks that were put in our place to trip us up. So.
Yes, I think that's the reason I wanted to talk to you, especially because I saw through your work and just like the way you like would talk about different like topics of racism in our society. I just saw that you used the culture and history to drive you to talk
Mm-hmm.
about those things, and that's so important because, you know, like so many people have experienced it, and having that like be in their stories and having like someone who's willing to share and
Mm-hmm.
put in the culture and just understand it is, I feel like, so beautiful because it's much more than racism. There's
Mm-hmm.
history and there's culture. It's just there's so much more. And
Yeah. So many layers. So many.
that's
It's
the
like,
beautiful thing about your story because you used art to, drive you through, those hard times in your life, and then now you get to share about that and what you're doing with it now. So,
mm-hmm. And I appreciate you for noticing that. I feel like art can help reveal, and it also allows us to step into our light and shine the way we are supposed to be, and not change ourselves for anyone. And then this also, it brings in this level of integrity, right? If it's ever a situation where you feel like you will lose yourself, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And because the reason why it's not worth it is because you still need to be you and keep whatever that fire is burning inside of you in order to keep going. If you let someone change you, mute you, make you feel worried about standing up for what you believe in, then you will ultimately lose yourself.
and art heals that. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, I've experienced that being a dancer, photographer, is just so many ways to use art to, help drive you and then
Mm-hmm.
share your story or share like what needs to be like changed in our world. So
That's
that,
true. You got this. See,
yeah,
I
there's just so much.
yeah.
I love talking to artists on here because artists don't get recognized enough in our world, I think, especially like dancers or
Mm-hmm.
photographers. Um, hello again. So my computer decided that its disk space was full, so I had to, pull out my hard drive and upload things on there. And now we're back. We're recording again. I think I was talking about how artists don't get recognized enough and they get to share their stories. They get to share their stories and share their stories through different, things that need to change in the world, things like that. So that's all I was trying to say before my computer gave up on me. We're good.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like
It's
it cut
fine.
us off. It's like, oh my gosh, why did you cut us off? But I feel like because it's kind of like how you think about how they teach climate change in schools and stuff, that usually it's kind of like this idea of like, I think this whole narrative of capitalism and this sense of like utilizing non-renewable resources, it kind of like took the forefront. So things like the arts and stuff like that probably fell on the backside. At least for me, I noticed that things were more geared towards sports in school until I went to Booker T. And I'm not saying it's not beautiful. Sports is beautiful. So many kids that are able to, participate, and that's what they love. But it's cool to see the arts supported as well. The performing arts supported. Students who love to write. It's cool seeing that
Yes.
supported. So when they're older, they understand and they can continue to do what they love instead of suppressing that and not being able to do it because society is like, oh no, this is not important. It is important. It's the
Exactly.
way of the world. Everything around us was a creative idea before, and then we now use it to serve a purpose.
And it can change so many things. So,
It can.
so are there any resources you would like my followers and I to read, watch, listen to?
Yeah. Okay. First of all, so many. Oh my goodness.
You can just email me a list.
Yeah, I can email you a list.
And I will have that list in like the caption below. Is it called a caption? It's called a caption.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
I can do that. I can make a nice list. I would first, like, if it's anything that I can throw out very quick, I would say, um, watch Our Planet. On Netflix. I think it's really great to understand the world that we live in, and it's very beautiful visuals you can see there. Just a beautiful documentary. Um, Mental health resources, I will do a collective list of those things you can do, self-care activities and stuff like that. We share it with students in the SMART project, and don't mind sharing it to your followers because it's important for us to take care of ourselves.
I appreciate that.
No problem.
And lastly, where can my followers find you on social media so they can keep up with you?
Okay, well, you can find me on Mars. No, I'm playing. Like, no, knowing I wouldn't get a ticket to Mars or anything like that.
Oh, well,
That's a whole nother story. That is a whole nother story. I'm like, wait, you leaving us? But no, if you want to find me on social media, it is Nitashia Johnson. So Nitashia Johnson, just all ran together. And that's the same for like Twitter, Instagram, and then my website. My website is the main like source of contact because you can reach out to me there if you need help with anything, have any questions, or just need some upliftment. I'll be there to help you out because man, we got to stick together. We really, really do. But that's where you can find me.
yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this interview. Make sure you follow Nitashia on all social media platforms and check out all of their upcoming projects. And make sure to follow our other social media platforms as well so you don't miss out on more interviews and important information. I hope you guys enjoyed the 14th episode of Society Inspired, and we will see you guys next time.
See ya.